just sitting there. What's your problem? Are you scared? Everything is magic here. We make it up out of thin air. Nothing's complete, nothing's concrete. Sweet or sour, it's what we make. The question is the answer to most everything. The Wookiee, Han, and Luke would sit back and wait. Come on, it's not too late. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake your hips, and repeat. Feel the rhythm and the beat. Stroke your hair, kiss the air.
1, 2, 3. In a galaxy far, far away. 1, 2, 3. In a galaxy far, far away. 1, 2, 3.
Hey now, listen up. There's no need to hesitate. There's no stop and celebrate. Every day's a brand new day. Let's get going. What you say? Nothing's complete, nothing's concrete. Sweet or sour, it's what we make. The question is the answer to most everything. And Padme Leia Ray would sit back and wait. Come on, it's not too late. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake your hips, and repeat. Feel the rhythm and the beat. Stroke your hair, kiss the air.
1, 2, 3. In a galaxy far, far away. 1, 2, 3.
Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake your hips, and repeat. Feel the rhythm and the beat. Stroke your hair, kiss the air. In a galaxy far, far away. 1, 2, 3. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake your hips, and repeat. Feel the rhythm and the beat. Stroke your hair, kiss the air.
In a galaxy far, far away. 1, 2, 3.
Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake your hips, and repeat. Feel the rhythm and the beat. Stroke your hair, kiss the air.
In a galaxy far, far away. 1, 2, 3.
Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake your hips, and repeat. Feel the rhythm and the beat. Stroke your hair, kiss the air.
In a galaxy far, far away. 1, 2, 3.
And we're live!
We are live! Yay!
Brought to you by Dream Creators Travel. Holly, you
And
look
we are
different
grateful to them every time we come on the air.
today. Holly, you look different today.
I do. Dyed my hair. You know.
A bit more of
Welcome
a
to the
tan,
show,
I
Mindy.
think. You know, she's in Arizona this week.
Yep.
Justin, you're going to Arizona.
I'm going to I'm going to mostly New Mexico, but yeah, we're flying into Phoenix, Arizona, and then we are driving around the loop. We're gonna go over to Roswell, Carlsbad Caverns, and then back to Tucson and back to Phoenix.
Okay, well, you're going to have to meet up and do lunch. So you're going to New Mexico, but you're probably going to take right through my town then, because the freeway you take to do that goes straight through here, about a mile up the road.
So where are you? So what
We're
town?
in Chandler.
Chandler. Okay.
It's on the
Write this
outskirts of Phoenix, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we're just right outside of Phoenix.
Yeah. You guys should get together for sure for
Yeah.
a Dole Whip somewhere or something.
Yeah. Oh, I know where the Dole Whips are too.
There you go. So Mindy missed the memo. You're supposed to wear this shirt today.
Oh, I know. Instead, I'm wearing my Atari shirt, my vintage Atari.
Oh, nice.
Does that
Oh,
count? It's real vintage, you guys. It's pretty
Hey,
cool.
I'm old enough. I had an Atari back in the day.
Yeah,
So.
me too.
Yeah, I still have one. Never mind, had.
That's so fun.
Technically, I think I might still have it somewhere. Anyway.
It was funny. Justin popped on. I go, hey, we got the same shirt on today.
Oh,
So
that's
I had to
funny.
distinguish myself here. I don't know if you can see.
Oh,
I
that's
put
what
on
you tell us
my,
apart.
my
Oh,
50th anniversary name tag.
nice.
Oh, hang on. Let's go like this. There we go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it's Jiminy.
And
they
you
make
got your little. Are they buttons or magnetic? Are they magnets?
It's just a clip.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's a name tag. It's from the 50th anniversary of Disneyland.
Cool.
Nice. So what do we have? We got Donald with us today, and Joe. There's Holly
Holly.
and Jennifer.
And Jennifer.
Joe again. Mary's here. Hello, Mary. And we got.
Yep. I missed the memo, Holly.
Is this George or is this Dan? Grand Circle Tour podcast.
Yep.
Today.
We have no
We
idea.
got a lot of news to cover. A lot of things I want to talk about, and then we're going to play a little game of this and that, and we have a great tip of the week too. So should we get right to it, or do we want to do a waltz up? You guys probably don't have a waltz up.
We probably don't have a waltz up. No, we don't normally do the waltz up on the live show, except on the rare times you go, "Hey, do you guys have a waltz up?"
You guys have a waltz up today?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, here's my waltz up. I've been listening to the DuckTales podcast. Have either of you two been listening to that?
I didn't know there was a DuckTales podcast.
Okay, so I loved the DuckTales cartoon. And I was so disappointed when it was canceled, but they call it This Duckburg Life.
Okay.
So it's like a kind of a take on This American Life, but it has all of the voice actors from the recent DuckTales cartoon show.
Oh,
So
fun.
they're basically doing a little bit of a podcast, and you can catch them on. I've been watching them on YouTube, so they are on. Let me here make sure it's the Disney XD channel. They're up to episode 5 now. They're about
check
like
it out.
15, 20 minutes long, so it's not a long listen.
Mm-hmm. I'm stepping on
But
my
if you've
popcorn.
ever heard This American Life, so you know that style, it's Huey Duck.
So is it audio only
It is basically audio only, but it
Okay.
is
on YouTube?
but it's
Kinda
on,
like the Grand
it is
Tour.
on YouTube. I believe it is also on all of the like Apple, iTunes, and all of that.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
How fun.
I just want to say
We'll
hello
have
to
to check it
Sarah and everybody in chat. Say hello to Sarah. It's our
Hi,
first time
Sarah.
with us. I know. I wanted to have my mug for new users that had Doug. I just met you, then you flip it over. But I love you. It's upstairs. It's not in the solo studio right now. And we're gonna have time for Panda Trivia. Panda Trivia is on right after us. So we have
Oh,
over
that
an
is
hour.
true. They're up to what is he up to? Like 5? Game 5?
Sure.
Okay,
So some news I wanted to talk to is the Disney store is closing.
Yep.
This is so frustrating because this
Well,
is like my only.
like all of them in Canada, right?
all of them in Canada are closing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
We have one here in Chandler and it's going away. I'm devastated.
but like I don't know. I feel worse for us Canadians. No offense, but like for me to ship a mask,
Right.
it's $30 for an $11 mask. It's like $24 shipping for an $11 mask. Like
Right.
it is like the shipping costs are ridiculous. So the store was like our one outlet,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm hoping they're going to come up with something different for Canadians by maybe having an outlet store where they can ship from for less expensive or something. But
Gotcha.
I'm not happy with this at all.
Yeah,
What do you guys?
I'm so disappointed. I can understand it. I mean, the world at large is kind of going to internet stores, basically.
Right.
I mean,
Online
so I get
shipping.
that, but yeah, I understand that. I imagine people in Hawaii would feel about the same sort of pain that you do in terms of shipping anything.
Right.
Yeah, and Alaska too. Like they don't. It's always extra to ship to Alaska and extra to ship to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hopefully they build a warehouse here and start shipping from the warehouse.
That's a great idea.
Or
We
just-
should call Disney.
Or just let Amazon.
Well, there we go.
deal
We'll
with it.
look at a
Amazon.
Disney shipping warehouse in North Dakota. and
Well, they
that'll-
were
that'll
talking
help.
about doing that a while back ago, having a Canadian warehouse for Disney merchandise
Okay.
because the shipping is, and for whatever reason, Disney charges more than anyone else on the planet. to
Really?
ship to Canada, yeah.
That's weird.
Anyways, did you guys see the video of the Groot robot?
No.
You know, I know that it exists. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I'm still impressed anyway, just knowing that exists.
Okay, I got it. Let's take a look at it, and then
Let's
we'll
Okay.
go.
go. Absolutely.
It's very short. So Disney Enterprises released that video this week.
My mind.
I want to say, first of all, hands up anyone who's seen ASIMO
Yes.
at either
Yep.
Disneyland or Disney World. I mean, so you know this technology exists,
Mm-hmm.
but to have them actually using it in a character like this is just phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. At
And the
Disneyland,
eyes
you used to go
opening and-
see. Yeah, you could go into the and go see Asimo and watch his little walk up and down stairs. Used to go see him, and now he's part of an attraction, the Autopia. Like he's just out in the sun doing nothing. They're like he's worth nothing now, and they were always like he was $1 million to build, and now he's just something that
Just
sits
this
in
guy,
the
you
dirt.
know?
It's literally they just threw him out to garbage. They're like, we got to do something with them, so they literally put him in Autopia just to drive
Yeah,
by.
but seriously, I mean, that's that sort of technology that they
Yeah.
were demonstrating at that time is
Yep.
exactly the sort of thing that leads to this.
Mhm.
And so that there's a direct line, and I am so amazed at what they're able to do here. I love every time they can do this bit of technology.
Right.
So they've got like all the animatronics. This is a culmination of all of the different things that they have done over the years, from ASIMO to the various like walk around characters. I mean, even just push the trash can. I mean, and the Muppet Mobile Labs and things like that. I mean, so this is the next step, people. We're going to see more of this. If they can
Right.
do this now, we're going to see more things like it in the future.
So my question is do you think we're actually going to see this walking around the park?
No,
I kind of feel the same way. I
No.
think we might see it hanging around Guardians of the Galaxy in Disneyland, perhaps.
I think
I
this
think
is
if it's
going to
gonna be-
kind of like ASIMO, something on stage.
If they
Okay.
do it though, I think Stan that they would do it at Disneyland and just put it in the new Guardians of the Galaxy. I do. I think if they're going to do that, it's going to be on a little stage, but they will bring him out. I have like just seeing that they're going to want people to see it. So that's just my
Yeah.
opinion, but
I know
If
when
they-
they first announced Galaxy's Edge, they said they're going to be droids driving around.
yeah.
And you'll feel like you're living there, and it'll be like a power droid walking by, and there'll be an R2 unit going by, and a protocol droid. And I have yet to see a droid moving
We're
around. I've
still
seen
waiting,
some,
right?
I've seen some smashed up, and I've seen some used as garbage cans, and I've seen some for sale. I haven't seen any driving around or any
Yep.
videos of any driving around.
If they did something like what I experienced in
Right.
China with the sort of Avengers walkthrough experience,
Mm-hmm.
where it was a whole attraction, but you met different characters along the way and all of that. I could see them using something like this in an experience like that. I don't know if they have plans to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of
It'd
wish
be
they
interesting
would
to see.
because it was
I
awesome.
think Chris might be right in that they would use them as a meet and greet.
Can you imagine? They're
I
like,
can see
okay,
that,
let's
yeah.
make an animatronic of Snow White, and this is your meet and greet.
Well, the animatronic group would be like, okay, I need my coffee break now. It's been 2 hours.
Right?
Well, but they've done like R2D2 and things like that of meet and greets, and they're obviously
I mean,
But they
think-
haven't done anything at Galaxy's Edge.
no.
I have seen them at Star Wars Galactic Nights where they had droids driving around. That was the R2 builders. I think they volunteered. I'm not sure if they got paid or not to come on to do it. I mean, it's a thrill for them to do it.
But for meet and greets, they've had R2D2 as meet and greets. They've had like BB-8 as meet and greets.
Yeah,
And
that's
so they could do
more of a-
things like this as a meet and greet as well.
Well, they had that Groot one that used to be at Epcot. It was a meet and greet.
Right.
He had the wires that he would pretend to try to put together, and Star-Lord would come out when you would meet Baby Groot and Star-Lord.
Right.
And that was a great meet and greet, actually. And of course, anytime you ask Groot anything, he'd be, I am Groot, would be the response. The other thing was, finally, I guess Holly's not in Disney World. The People Mover's open.
Yay! I'm so
I heard
excited, you
that.
guys.
I was so excited to see that.
Yeah,
And that's a
to,
great picture. I love the picture of Stitch.
I'm
on the
so
People Mover.
excited to ride that. It's my favorite attraction. If I go to Disney World, it's the first thing I ride when I go to Magic Kingdom, just because we don't have it at Disneyland.
yeah. I love that attraction so much.
Me too.
And did you see the lines? It was like massive for opening day when it
Right.
was mostly vloggers, I think, that were there.
Yeah, and
Right.
usually the whole point of that is that it is kind of a walk-on ride because not that many people are interested, and it's like now everyone wants
Now
to be there.
everybody wants to be on it. Yep,
Take it
Yeah.
away for just a little while, and suddenly it's super popular.
that's right.
Well, you're and my friend Lori Oliveri, she went opening day, and
on
she
just People
said it was like 20 minutes only.
Oh wow!
Well, that's
But
not
they do space it out, so it does look a little longer than
looks
what
longer
they
than
lit-
what it is.
well,
they
and
are,
it is a continuous load sort of
Right.
ride. So I mean,
the
they
line can be
pump people
deceiving,
through there pretty quickly.
right?
Yeah.
So the line can be deceiving, and you've got to stay back. So it looks longer, but they're going to put people through there.
Holly says it's open because I don't have any plans to go.
That's right, Holly. It's
Yeah, T9 says I love it, but I'm not sure I would stand in that line for it. I did stand in that line. It was probably about 20, 25, 30 minutes for People Mover, but there was a group of us and we were just talking while we were in line anyways. Like it was in the
Right.
evening and there was nothing else for us to do anyways other than whether we were standing in the corner and talking or standing in line or talking would have been the same thing. So we just stood in line and ended up riding the People Mover.
Yeah, I plan on riding that several times while I'm there, so I'm
Yeah.
excited to do it.
My wife
Yeah.
likes to go on the People Mover when I'm standing in line for Space Mountain.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what
My
I do.
favorite
And
is
so
when you
now-
take, it's the best when you go down and you turn that corner and it's like the best shot of the castle. It's perfect. Like if you get your camera ready and they go around that corner, it's a
Mhm.
perfect shot of the castle.
It
Like
is a good
it's
shot.
beautiful.
I would
And-
agree with that.
When you get near the end, they say, we hope you enjoyed your Grand Circle tour.
They do.
listen for your
Listen
spiel.
for it.
Yeah.
They do that.
Yeah. Valerie says it's a must do for her. Holly
Yeah.
says at this point she would wait for the People Mover and she would also pay $25 for a cheeseburger spring roll.
See, now before
So would
long, my
Allie.
wife is going to have to go on this twice as often because I will have both Space Mountain and Tron to go on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, when
In
we
Monica and I can
go,
ride the people mover like 20 times while you do those two.
Exactly.
Ratatouille will be open when I'm there, so I'm excited to do that. I'll have to go live and take you guys on it.
So this next story is completely up Mindy's alley. The Disney Wish is.
I'm so excited for this, you guys. I'm counting down the minutes to get on this live show. Like they're doing a live update for it.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about. So what do you think they're going to tell us on this live show?
When it's going to be, what we're going to learn about it. They're going to take us into the rooms. I have a feeling they're going to take us in, like take us around. Obviously, it's not done, but digitally into the atrium and probably where it's going to go. I have a feeling they're just going to give us the info and get us really excited about booking this. I, for one, had to move my cruise, so it's kind of, we have it halfway paid for, but we just have to move it. So we may be going on the new Wish. It's a year later, so that's the plan.
Yeah, I would say they're probably going to show us a little bit more around the ship, like maybe talk about some of what the lounges and the restaurants and some of the other places are. I would hope.
And also, they're
what
going
they've shown it so far is fantastic,
Right.
though.
I have the feeling they're going to take us into the new, because they redid the whole entire port where it now docks, because they had to make it bigger. There was no way it could accommodate that size of a ship. So they're probably going to take us live there and just show us around. I'm excited.
What's the Monica saying? Oh, multiple trips on the people mover sounds great. Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it does, Monica.
Holly thinks they're gonna make the announcement of when we can start booking.
Oh, she's asking when are they going to start booking for the Wish?
Yeah.
When are they? I think
they're going to announce that.
I think they're going to announce it. Yeah.
Yeah.
When the grandbabies were short, we would take them on the people mover while tall people ride Space Mountain.
That could happen. Time moves on.
Me too, Julissa.
Julissa and Jennifer are both. They're really wanting to do the cruise. I want to do cruising too, but I'm guessing it's going to be the last thing I'm going to be doing. Probably. Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking
I'll take a 3-week trip to Disney World. I'm sad that we're not going on the cruise, but right now it's just not a good idea. Just because it's such a short time. They still are not booked all the way through July. So I just don't foresee how they're going to get their act together in 5 short weeks from the time that is supposed to occur to the time we're supposed to take off. So we just extended our Disney World trip. We're happy for both because we're still going to go back the following year within the next months and go on the cruise. So best of both worlds. We're not too sad about it.
Our October cruise still hasn't technically been canceled yet. But
that's when we were supposed to go, October.
It's going to be.
Right.
Yeah, that one's going to be canceled for sure. Because you're going to Canada with that one, right?
Yeah, that was going to Canada. And Canada's not going to change their mind, are they?
No. We got stronger restrictions now starting tomorrow. We're not allowed to have any visitors in our homes starting tomorrow.
Really? Even though vaccinations are even occurring, you guys are tightening up on.
They're tightening up. They're tightening up. Yeah. We used to be, we're allowed 2 people and it had to be the same 2 people only allowed in our homes. And now they're not allowing anybody in your home. You're not allowed to have anybody into your house. And they closed the Ontario-Manitoba border again. They closed the northern border again. Our numbers are going up. Somebody have to do something. So
yeah. Oh, you still have numbers going up.
Oh yeah. They're like they were back in January, February.
Did you have mask mandates at all?
Oh yeah, forever. It's been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You
That's
can't
just
go.
interesting to me.
Like how
it's
we've had because it's so widespread. There's been like more mutations and such. So now there's some that they're spreading even more. They spread more easily now, and so it's like if you don't have the vaccinations to keep it in bay, like we're doing pretty good here in the U.S., but a lot of other countries.
Well, North Dakota in particular is doing really well.
Yeah.
Mary, you're right. People need
North Dakota is
vaccinating
vaccinating truck drivers from Canada.
Yeah, people from my province going into Justin's state they're the Canadians, the U.S. people, or the U.S. North Dakota is vaccinating
people from truck drivers from Manitoba,
right?
and they'll be getting their second shot before I get I have to wait 4 months for my second shot.
Wow. See, ours was 4 weeks. We just
thought
have
it
way
was
too
supposed to be 2
short
weeks.
time.
Yeah, they're waiting 4 months in between
That's
shots
crazy.
here.
Holy smokes.
Here in Arizona, they like lifted mask mandates now. We don't have to wear them. It's like, do your own thing, be safe.
Yeah.
But because
Yeah.
we've had so many people get vaccinated, the numbers are so down that they feel like it's doing better. Obviously, in Florida too, I foresee Disney World going. You guys, they're just going to keep going with this. I mean, you can take your mask off to eat and then take pictures now. But eventually, they're going to get to where they're just like, "Hey, take it off while you're on an attraction."
Chris is trying to get me in trouble here. He wants me to make it look like I'm Home Alone with more people in the house. Maybe I can put one on a turntable.
But put the light
loud
in the
music.
background. There
The
you
comments
go.
are wacky tonight.
It's funny.
Tina says that's because nobody lives in North Dakota.
That's true, Tina.
Justin does. She also wants to get the Castaway Key. She doesn't care what boat gets her there. She'll swim
There
if
you
she
go.
has to. Do we want to do the tip of the week?
I think that would be a good thing to do.
Alrighty.
All right. So tonight's tip of the week brought to you by Dream Creators Travel. And the tip is to bring some flavored water packets and then to order water to drink.
Perfect.
So, and I like that. So if you like the flavored beverages, you can order water, put these little packets in them, and drink that instead of getting a bunch of expensive soda and such. Your family can save so much money.
Right.
For your trip. Let the kids pick out whatever flavors of water enhancers and flavorings that they want to bring, and they don't take up a lot of room. Easy to bring, easy to store. You stay hydrated and you save a lot of money.
And let's get real. The water in Florida that comes out of the tap is horrible. Yes, you can go up to a quick service counter and go, "Hey, can I get a cup of ice water?" They're so happy to give them to you for free. There's another tip. Just go ask for them and they give it to you, and they give you a cup with ice and a straw, and they say, "Here you go." But it's the most awful tasting water. So if you hide that flavor, it's great.
So, yeah, there you go. I'm a big fan of I will order the water as a drink because, again, like you said, it's free.
Right, Mary.
And that it is important to stay hydrated. It's so warm there. I mean, coming from a place like North Dakota, we're not used to so much heat and humidity necessarily when we get down there. So we need the extra hydration. So it's a really, really good trip.
Tastes like Splash Mountain water.
I don't know what Splash Mountain water tastes like, but I don't know if I want to find out.
You know what? I don't mind the Florida water, to be honest with you.
I haven't had so much trouble with it, really. I mean, I drink a lot of water, but if you really don't like the taste of water, I have like the one nephew, for example, who he doesn't like water. He doesn't want to drink water.
He doesn't like water?
But you put some flavor in it and he's fine. So
that's funny.
How we keep him hydrated.
Yeah. So today's tip was brought to you of course, from Dream Creators Travel, and they got a special right now.
Yay!
For Grand Circle Tour listeners only, and that's you people watching right now. Busy Mums promotion.
Yep. Go get it. That's a great deal.
So you book a 4-night, 4-day package. You by May 31st, and you have to travel by 9:15. Get a $50 gift card. You can't beat that. That is fantastic. I mean, you can spend $50 at Disney, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So rather than the normal deal is you get the $25 gift card, but we have a special promotion going right now where you get a $50 gift card. Just make sure that you let them know you heard about them at dreamcreatorstravel.com. And you get a $50 gift card. So book by May 31st and check in by September 15th. Those are the two dates.
I believe the regular deal is a 3-night, 3-day package.
Yep.
Right. And you get a $25 gift card. I think that is still in place. So
yes,
you're only going for 3 days. You can get 25, but if you're going for at least 4, you can get 50. So
Mary says she can spend $50 while sleeping at Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
Them from us. There you go.
Yeah.
But that's a free souvenir, that's a free, stop and snack around Epcot. That's $50 goes quick, but
And forgot to mention,
That's at least a couple of Dole Whips,
plus the service is free. You're not paying for the service either. You're
Right.
paying the same prices as you would getting from Disney. You're not paying extra just because you have a travel agent. A lot of people don't know that.
right. People assume that you have to pay for those services, but Disney actually pays them. So
Yeah.
not coming out of your pocket. nor
Chris
theirs.
says spend the gift card on real beverages. Never mind the flavored water.
There you go, Chris. You don't have to taste that gross water. Buy
No,
the
you
Avion
spend it
water.
on ice cream cones. I'm telling you.
Hey, Kim.
Dole
There's our
Whips and ice
Kim.
cream cones. That's what you spend it on. But
Exactly.
you can spend it on anything you like. And we should also mention that Jennifer and Julissa also have a Facebook group called Busy Moms Planning Disney,
Yep.
which is another great source for a lot of these tips, like we share here every week.
And they give great tips on their page.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so sign up for that on Facebook and visited dreamcreatorstravel.com. Alrighty. Who wants to play some this and that?
Let's play
This
some this
or
and
that?
that.
People in the chat, you can
It's
play
this
as
or
well.
that. You guys can play along.
David says that's a couple of Lappy Lappies, $50.
Exactly. I am so excited to hear that they. When is Trader Sam's going to open? That's all I care about. It better be open before I go. That's all I ask. I love going to Trader Sam's. It's probably my funnest interactive place to go and just sit down.
I love Trader
and enjoy
Sam's.
the
I
ambience.
loved Olga's Cantina the last time I was there. Oh,
I have never been there. I've been in, but I've never gotten anything. We just hadn't done it
we
yet.
had a great
so.
time there.
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a couple of things to choose, and the people in the chat, you can choose as well.
Yep.
So you get to choose between this, the Contemporary,
Okay.
or that, the Grand Floridian.
Okay.
Which one where would you rather stay? At the Contemporary or the Grand Floridian?
I'm going to
Well,
go
I don't
against the minority. I'm going to stay at the Contemporary
And why is that?
because the monorail goes through it.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah.
It's
You know
so cool.
No, it is a fair answer. Now, I have not stayed at the Contemporary, but I did get to stay at the Grand Floridian the last time I was
That's
at Walt Disney
right.
World. And it was amazing.
It is.
I absolutely loved that you could get
Good
on the
stay.
monorail there and like one stop, the very next stop is Magic Kingdom. And so
Yeah.
there was no line there. I mean, not even with like the COVID restrictions. I mean,
Right.
they do like the little temperature thing to your forehead and you're done.
Right. Most people are going to say the Grand Floridian. Like I said, I'm just going against the grain. Because we go to San Diego and California a lot, and this hotel is actually based off one in California. It looks just like it. It's
Mhm.
so much like it. It's the Grand
Mhm.
Coronado Hotel, and it's amazing. And it looks just like, and we've gone over there several times. And the Grand Floridian is sparkly. It's beautiful. It's their flagship hotel. It's Disney's flagship hotel. Obviously, it's the cream of the crop.
I
Now,
see
Now,
for myself.
here's what I'm going to say in favor of the Contemporary now. So the Contemporary is a little closer. You can like walk over to Magic Kingdom from the
Exactly.
Contemporary. Like you say, the monorail goes right through it. It's that is just an awesome thing, has always been. And they're in the process of updating some of the theming. They're going to do like more of an Incredibles theming to a lot of the rooms and such. I think it's going to be a lot cooler in the future. That also plays into the favor of Contemporary. I know people who,
Yeah, the
who
Coronado
for
Hotel.
example, are have family members who are in wheelchairs and such. They love to stay there because it's so close. It's
Right.
much easier access to get over to the Magic Kingdom than anywhere else. And so,
So,
that
Stan-
is an important consideration. If you need to
Right.
get back to your hotel room quickly, you want to be able to walk there, the Contemporary is a good choice.
Stan, where would you stay? Give us
For
your
myself,
opinion.
it would be the Contemporary.
Yeah.
It's not even a question for me.
So why would you go there?
I just love the look of it. I love the feel of it. I love the nostalgia of it. I wouldn't care too much. Like if I had a choice between the Grand Floridian Park view versus the contemporary parking lot view,
Right.
I would think I would take the Grand Floridian Park view. But I would love to have either a park view or even a concourse view from the contemporary. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is Monica? Oh, Outer Rim Lounge at the
Contemporary. That was a wonderful place. You could sit there, have a drink. We had some food from the I think it was like a pizza. But it's an amazing view out the windows as you sat there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the contemporary has Chef Mickey's right there. It's amazing. So there's another plus up for me.
Okay, so which do you prefer for mode of transportation? This,
Okay.
the monorail, or that, the Skyliner?
Well, for me, I'm gonna go immediately to the monorail. I mean, partly because it's
But you're not even staying in the contemporary. You're staying in the Grand Floridian.
Right?
I know the monorail goes there.
No, I took the monorail from the Grand Floridian as well.
Yeah, I know.
No, I absolutely love the monorail. It has such history, and it's a comfortable, enjoyable ride, and you get to hear them say, "Please stand clear of the doors" in Spanish. The Skyliners are kind of fun in that they remind me a lot of the ones we took in Hong Kong. We had glass bottoms on the ones we took, but
How about you, Mindy?
I'm going to say the monorail myself.
Oh,
Yeah. And here's what we love to do. So before we go to Epcot, I don't know why it worked out this way, but we do. So we go over to the Polynesian and we eat Tonga toast, and then we walk to the TTC and then take the monorail to Epcot. It's so fast. You don't have to wait for a bus. It drops you off straight at Epcot. And the monorail, it's an attraction in itself. Of course, the Skyliner is fun.
the Skyliner.
the
Skyliner, I think so too. But the monorail is nostalgic. It was built by Bob Gurr. He's my man. You know.
Here's something I will say in favor again of the Skyliner is that you would think, being in Florida, it's going to be 1,000,000 degrees and 1,000% humidity, and you're just going to die.
I
And
thought
you
so.
don't.
I eat
don't.
my words because I swore. I was like, I don't know how people are going to survive this. Everybody's going to cook. Nope.
But no, they have the airflow, and that was something, it's like I knew this from Hong Kong because it was 1,000,000 degrees and 1,000% humidity, and being in these things, even though there's no like air conditioning, the airflow and everything is just right. It's not that bad. You feel fine. The temperature is fantastic as you're going through all of this. So
I just want to go through the chat quick. So Sarah says Skyliner.
Yeah.
Chris is monorail. Mary is Skyliner, but she prefers the destinations of the monorail. See, I prefer the destinations of the Skyliner.
I am disappointed that the Skyliner doesn't go to Disney Springs.
The Skyliner. Well, they can't do that.
Yeah.
Because everybody would just park at Disney Springs and take the Skyliner. David's monorail. Kim's monorail.
Yep.
Monica's
Tim and
Skyliner. Gina have not been on the Skyliners, but she does love the monorail.
Less crashes. That's so
monorail
true,
has less
Chris.
crashes.
They've had two just recently. Just
Yeah,
three.
the monorail
There's
does
been
have
3
crashes though.
crashes.
They do
Monorail
have
did
mishaps,
kill
too.
somebody though, so we gotta give it that.
Yeah. Myself,
That's so
I love
sad.
I love the Skyliner. That's
Yeah.
my baby. Alrighty, moving along. This is Port Orleans French Quarter
Okay.
or Port Orleans Riverside. Where would you rather stay?
Okay, this
Both
is my
modern
go-to
resorts, both on
hotel.
the Susquehanna River.
Yep.
One's
is
a
my
lot smaller and
favorite
quieter, and the
hotel.
other- it's a lot bigger and has a lot more to do.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to go with Riverside because I've stayed there before. There you go. That's my reasoning.
You wouldn't want to go somewhere you haven't stayed before, though? Like try something new?
I love it. So we've stayed at several Disney World properties. This is my go-to resort. I love it, love it, love it. But to be honest, I'm a fan of the Riverside. And let me tell you why. It's huge. It's so big. It almost is daunting to walk to that food court right there, that wheel. So for those like passengers that don't know, inside there is the Sasagula food court. And it's a huge food court and it's amazing. And then over to the left where you're seeing the red brick, it's not brick, but the roofed building, that is the lobby. So it's all there. And then the store is that blue building that's behind there. It's
Up here,
all
this-
right,
yeah.
right there.
Yeah, this is the lobby
store.
area. This is the Sasagula Float Works, it's called.
Yeah, that whole thing in there is just it's serene. You walk by, you can hear the water. It's beautiful. Now, when you go to the other resort, French Quarter, it's more of a upbeat, fast atmosphere. Like you can feel it. You can feel that it's very New Orleans. You're going to go to Mardi Gras. That's what it's kind of themed after. And they have a small food court, but they do sell beignets there, and those are good.
There.
They do, and they're delicious. And we've done both. And the slide at French Quarter is fun for kids, but again, that pool at Riverside is stellar. It's my favorite resort. We won a trip to Disney World. We won a 10-day trip, all inclusive, paid vacation, and we could have picked any property to stay at, even deluxe.
Wow.
And my kids were like, "Mom, we want to stay in the princess rooms." They were little. So I know, I was just like, what? So we got extra nights and went for we just lived it up. But we stayed in the rooms with the princess rooms, and they were pretty regal and they're gorgeous and it was great. But we lived on this property for 2 weeks and it was fun.
Yeah. I just love exploring Riverside.
Yeah.
And there's 4 different bus stops. So you're always close to a bus stop, even though the resort itself is actually really huge.
Yep.
But what I do is I get off at a different bus stop every time just so that I could see the resort. Just
Yeah,
to kind of
that's a
walk
good
through the resort.
idea.
I've even gotten off at the French Quarter bus stop and walked to Riverside from
You
the French
can,
Quarter.
and you can
Yeah.
do that. And the fun thing is you can rent Surrey bikes, but here's the best part. The boat ride to Disney Springs from Riverside. It's my favorite thing. Like, talk about ambiance and Disney feeling, and that feeling you get, you're just like, this can't be replaced. Is this happening? It almost feels surreal, especially at night. And we just talked about this on the transportation show we did that's coming up, but you take that riverboat and you guys, when it's nighttime, you're hearing the water, you're seeing the lights in the trees, you go by the tree house and go into Disney Springs. That is the best mode of transportation that's on Disney property. The boat ride from Riverside to Disney Springs.
So David says French Quarter.
Yeah.
Julissa says, I was stuck at Riverside during Hurricane Matthew.
Oh my goodness.
She was stuck.
Yeah. Oh, tragic.
It matters not. I've been to both and love them both. That's the right answer.
That I think is the right answer for so many of these things, really.
Yeah. Kim says never stayed at either, but she's watched enough tours.
Yeah, exactly.
Julissa would take French Quarter. Port Orleans, French Quarter, Riverside has the worst restaurant on property.
Boat rides.
You know what, though? But I got
You're
a
right,
really good tip. Hang on. I got a really good tip for about boat rides. That food court at Riverside in the morning is crazy packed.
Yep.
But what you could do, and it's perfect. There's actually a sign saying you can do this, but nobody does it.
Nope.
And I do it all the time. I take my tray and I go to boat rights and I have my breakfast in boat rights because boat rights is only open for dinner.
Yep.
And you could bring your food from the Sasagula Float Works into boat rights.
And nobody ever knows that.
Yeah. Now Mary
It's
says
so
Riverside
true.
is more peaceful. Unless you have Bob is having a party, then it's not. And boozy beignets at the French Quarter for sure. Exactly. So our next topic. Okay. Splash Mountain that we all know and love. Are you going to love that one more, or are you looking forward to the change of Splash Mountain?
No,
are you ready to? Are you ready for a change?
Oh, we're
Do you
going
want-
we're going into controversy now.
We're
All
going
right.
to controversy. Do you want to keep it the way it is, or do you want to?
controversy?
I've said this before. I think I said this back when we first talked about the change possibly happening, and that's that. I mean, the fact that they themed this around Song of the South in the first place was just kind of a weird choice to start with. I love the music of Princess and the Frog. I absolutely love that. All of the music, all of the different styles of music that they used throughout that film. I would love to hear that music. I think it's a great fit for the log flume ride that they've already created. I think it's going to be a great change. I'm looking forward to it.
How about you, Mindy? Nope. It's your opinion. If you prefer them, don't change it. That's fine too.
I think it is going to be stellar. Anything Disney touches, it's going to just knock it out of the park. But it's amazing the way it is. Like, I understand people. I don't even know what to say. I love.
You can certainly say that it is what it is now. Works well. It does. The songs that they have now, the characters that they have now.
Most people have never seen the film. Most people have never seen the film Song of the South, unless you're like a true diehard Disney fan and you go buy the bootleg version of DVD
at this point.
Right? So most people know the song that goes along with it, Zippity Doo Dah, but they don't know that there's a movie behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know that film, which I understand, but I think it's great. I think they did a great job representing what it is. If they're using characters, they're not putting anything racially profiled in there or things like that. But I think it's great the way it is. However, what they're going to do to it, I'm sure it's going to be jaw-dropping because it's Disney and they're going to knock it out of the park. And this was built in 1994. You guys, this is old attraction. So the animatronics aren't as good. I mean, look what they did with Frozen. Can you imagine what they do with this and changing all the animatronics? It's going to knock your socks off. So I'm stuck in the middle. I love it the way it is, but Disney really will bring it, and they're going to plus this attraction.
Yeah, I'm with you in that I don't think what they have now is bad. I think it, like I said, it was kind of a weird choice to start with, but it's what they did, and being Disney, they did a great job with it. Yeah. The music and the characters and such that they have now are great. I just think that I'm looking forward to what they're going to do as well, because they're going to plus it up. If they're going to change it, they're going to plus it up. And the music is great from Princess and the Frog. I love that whole New Orleans style. Song of the South never really fit into either of the places that it is now. I mean, people are like, well, what about its Frontierland? Well, Song of the South is just as much the South.
It will fit into
Stan, what do you gonna? Yeah, it does fit into Disneyland.
So
it will fit into Disneyland for sure.
Any better or worse, either one. So,
Stan, what were you gonna say?
Well, to Justin's comment about it was a weird choice to begin with. Well, the original choice was Splash.
Right.
The live action movie with Daryl Hannah.
Can you imagine that?
Could you imagine if they had
that? Would be weirder.
That would have just been weird.
And it was originally supposed to be sponsored by McDonald's as well. So it was going to be Splash, sponsored by McDonald's.
And French fries thrown at you when you get off the ride.
Yeah. So
no, what I can say is I do believe where it's at Disneyland is it fits. It really does. The location, the ambiance when you walk down that and go get on the attraction down next to, the Pooh Corner and riding all of those attractions in there. But Disney World, that Magic Kingdom, when you go up and you come down, the way they did it, they framed when you go up, and I don't want to spoil it, but I will. So when you go up, and the seats are a lot more comfortable at Magic Kingdom. So when you go up and you go over, it's perfectly framed
for a 30-year-old ride.
Just get your camera ready, because when you go up,
for the castle, yeah,
right, the castle is perfectly
and the hidden
framed.
Mickey.
and the hidden Mickey. It's right there. Like it's the most amazing shot you can take with your camera. So just get it ready when you start going up the flume before you drop. It's a perfect shot of the castle.
I don't do drops anyway, so I'm not going to ride it. It doesn't matter to me. T9 says she likes the old school version.
Yeah, me too.
David says it's hard to judge. He hasn't seen the new story yet.
Right, Dave.
Which is fair. I mean, but I guess the question was, would you rather keep it or do you want it to change?
Right.
Holly's looking forward to the new Splash Mountain. Monica's looking forward to the music of The Princess and the Frog.
Right.
That's what Justin said.
It's great.
Kim is ready for a change. I hope they drop is. The drop is.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I agree.
I think they're going to keep the same track.
Nothing more intense than pirates. That's what I say. Splash as it is, but she does love Princess and the Frog, says Mary. Chris says he can't judge until he sees the makeover.
Good.
Kim says I will miss Splash, but it's going to be gorgeous.
Right, Kim. I agree.
Mary says you don't need to see the film to enjoy the song. That's true.
Correct.
Yeah. T9 is saying, I'm hoping it will be a Wishes thing. I was first devastated when Wishes ended, but when I saw Happily Ever After, there you go.
Mind's blown, right?
Yeah.
It's because Disney.
I honestly think it's going to be like that. I mean, the people who are like saddened that this is going away, yeah, I get that. I'm saddened about a lot of attractions that have gone away.
Chris is saying there's no mountains in New Orleans the last time he checked.
Yeah, it's kind of true.
You know, I might have to give you that one.
I'm torn. I'm not going to lie. I'm torn. I am excited to see the new attraction and what they do with it, but it is sad that they're taking it away. So.
As long as they keep them up in theater, I don't care.
Oh,
Speaking of controversy.
Why are you doing this to me?
Do you like the old red or the new red?
You are just making me bite my tongue.
You know, it's kind of the same thing where it's like there's so much history with the old one, but the new one is great. I finally got a chance to see it now that I got down to Disney World. I like the new scene. I think it works. I think it works well. They kept as many of the old lines as they could. They kept as much of the old scene as they could, while kind of changing it up. I kind of like the idea of the female pirate because there were female pirates back in the day. You don't hear about them as much, but they did exist. So I like the idea, and I think it's fun.
So those of our listeners who don't know, I sew costumes for fun. And my goal is if somebody doesn't mistaken me or the person I make it for as a cast member, I didn't do a good enough job. So I made my sister, right.
Okay,
I made my sister
cruise outfit. Okay.
Yep. That costume of red. And it was so good. They thought she was a cast member. Like it was so spot on, but it has a sentimental meaning to me with that. But I think they could have done this. And what's the whole spiel of, riding that attraction? The number one spiel was, we wants the redhead. We wants the redhead. They could have put that in the new one, just like rethemed the idea and still said, we wants the redhead in some sort of way. I think they took out the most iconic statement they could have out of that film.
Oh,
so
I
it's
wouldn't
sad.
call it iconic. I think Yo-Ho ranks up there.
Yeah, that's a song. I
the
get
guys
it.
whistling to the dogs.
Yeah, but when people quote this ride,
don't call me
people
chicken.
Quotes the ride. Yep, they do say that. But there's like 4 iconic statements that people say, right? We wants the redhead and don't Carlos, the chicken.
Well, I mean, I felt like they kept as much as they could while changing it up.
Yeah. I love the new. I love it. I do. It's great.
I absolutely love it. I think it's much better.
Now, remember what I said. That's old. That's new. Look at the difference of the animatronic, you guys.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing.
Absolutely.
And what they're going to do with Splash Mountain, can you imagine? Like I said, that was built in the 90s. And this was built, Walt helped create this.
Yeah, and just to tag on to that, I mean, it was built in the 90s, sure, but it reused a bunch of animatronics from the 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That too.
The
sings. But this, so if you're going to ask me, I'll bite my tongue, but I'll go with the new one just because I love the new animatronic. I think she's great.
Yeah. And I love the walk around character at Disneyland too.
Yes.
The pirate red. I mean, she scares me, but I do.
She looks
she's
just
awesome.
like her, though. She
What's
does. She looks just like her.
Yeah,
She does a
yeah.
great job. They found
Yeah.
someone that the cast member that does red looks just like her.
Yeah. Kim says she likes the old red.
Me too, Kim.
And David says the new red, and she's empowering and selling rum.
Do you guys fight at home? Because you guys have not had the same answer since.
I think this is Dan playing the music. Jeff wants the old redhead.
I know, Jeff.
I got
me
the old
too.
redhead upstairs. Ooh, did I say that? I'm most upset they took away their mermaid skeleton. Why would they do that? You know what? The beach does look a lot cleaner though without that mermaid skeleton. Don't be cheeky.
Yep.
From going as a kid and seeing the dog in jail with the keys, that's how I agree. I think
That's
that's
true.
The most iconic.
That is probably the most iconic scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is too.
Yeah.
Don't be
cheeky.
cheeky.
Yes.
Yes, he's saying yes. They do.
I think. Alrighty.
Well, you're gonna have to take her to
Okay,
Port
we got-
Orleans
we got about 10
Riverside.
minutes
then.
left, so
Yeah. Do you like this view or that view?
Oh, geez, you're like pounding it on tonight.
So you're walking down
we're
Hollywood
going back into
Boulevard?
controversy territory. So Stan is into controvery tonight.
I guess.
we-
Just
we-
stirring the pot.
He's just trying to stir up trouble. He's being
Yeah.
a troll. I am going to go out on a limb and go, I love being able to see the Grauman Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
I prefer that as the old Hollywood. I mean, that was the original intent of that view.
Right.
I understand why they blocked it. I'm glad they finally got to a point where they could take down that weird hat. I love the hat. I love what the hat symbolizes and represents. I love Fantasia and Mickey in it as the Sorcerer's Apprentice. But for that view, it stands out not as
But you can still see
a
the
weenie
theater.
still
so
see
much
the-
as
The theater right here.
Yeah, the steeple, you can see it.
it stands out
It's
not
there.
so much as a weenie, so much as something that was like plopped into there artificially.
Right.
Yeah. I would like to have seen them rather than dismantle it if they could somehow move it to
Right.
just outside of Hollywood Studios. That
Right.
you kind of walk by it
You
on
know,
your way
you
in.
walk
At this
up to
point,
it at
even if they
the
had moved it off to
entrance.
the side where they have where they had like the Star Wars launch bay, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you, Mindy?
So I have my reasons, but I love the Chinese Garment Theater to see that right there. It's iconic. That's
It's
what it
great
was
to see
built
that. You
for.
come around the crossroads,
Right.
you look down Hollywood Boulevard, and that's what you
But
see.
I love the hat. However, we do have the hat at Disneyland. It's in downtown Disney, right next to the Disneyland Hotel.
Right.
So we still get to see the hat
So if
in
you want to see
California.
that, just go to California.
Yep, you got to go to California. It's still there, so I get to see it a lot. But I do love that look right there. It's so spot on. So if you haven't been to California and gone to Hollywood, you guys, it's an exact replica. It's amazing, down to even the handprints in the concrete in front. It's exactly the same. It's
Are you
great.
talking about the theater?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
have been to
I have been, yeah.
Hollywood, and yeah, you're absolutely right.
There is a
It's a
big difference.
fantastic
Though.
place to visit.
The
Yeah.
big difference is the Mickey Mouse standing in front of the one on Hollywood Boulevard doesn't look quite right.
just a little
Going to
bit.
real Hollywood.
Right. Those Mickey Mouses that go around and take pictures with you don't
And the
look right.
Spider-Man, the 14 Spider-Man.
Exactly. And then it's that costs $25. Give me
Yeah,
your money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a clone saga all over again with the Spider-Man.
So Kim says it's
Comic
not
book
supposed to
nerds will
be
get
a
that.
clean beach. I must be missing something.
What?
Kim likes
That.
that. She likes this one, the hat. Without the hat, much better view of the theater. David and Kim are arguing again. Theater, I've always thought BAH was ugly. What is
Big
the
awful hat? I don't know.
The big awful hat was ugly.
Just as a guess.
Monica's saying, but could we have had the hat as a photo op elsewhere? Yeah,
Right.
but I would have.
and
It would have
that's
been
what I
nice.
was saying. It's like, because we have like that whole area now that's almost empty
Yeah.
where the launch bay was.
Valerie is saying no hat, thank you.
I think it's pretty clean sweep.
Jeff is saying I love the hat, but maybe it could have been located outside. I agree completely.
The
It would have
park
been nice to
entrance,
have it.
exactly,
for it,
Jeff.
actually.
Right there
That's
at the
an even
entrance.
better idea than mine.
No, that's what I thought. Like when you said to move it, I thought
Good for you,
they
Jeff.
should have put it
That's
outside next
exactly what
to
I
the
said.
entrance.
Outside the entrance, outside the park
Yep.
entrance. That's
Right there.
exactly-
Because there's that sign that everybody takes a picture with. Why not put it right there next to it?
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
that.
I could sell pins there.
Make it a shop front of the park. Or exactly. Put it out there. Put something inside of it. People would have went in.
Yeah, make it a shop in front of the park.
Everything else they made into a shop. So why not the hat?
Katie just got off her phone. She said, "Oh, we got to start this and that all over now."
All right.
Katie's got here. I
All
can't
right,
remember
let's
if I
go
had
back to the opening videos and the tip of the week. And
for the week.
That's fun.
Do you like this purple wall or that purple wall?
This one's mine.
Okay, Mindy.
The first one, this one.
That one?
That's iconic. I understand the purple wall is like the plain purple wall everybody took pictures with, but the geometric shapes, it's so Epcot. It just reminds me of the Epcot ball, and it's amazing. I love it. It says Epcot all over it. Definitely, hands down that.
How about you, Justin? I could care less.
Exactly. That's why I said it was mine. Like I love Instagram and taking pictures and getting dolled up to go to
You
the
know what I
park.
don't like
there's a
about the
wall
purple
somewhere. I don't know.
You know what I don't like about the purple wall?
People,
The purple wall.
no,
yeah.
people are.
So
if
for
they
the
weren't already
listeners,
coming at me with
yeah.
the torches and pitchforks are.
So those
coming at me
that don't
now.
know, because we do probably have some listeners that don't know. So this wall, what it is it's very iconic to go take a picture in front of and post it on Instagram. It got really popular from social media. Girls would, guys too, but mostly girls get dressed up and they go take a picture in front of the purple wall just as a cute background, or they change this purple wall to the geometric shapes. The geometric shape just gives it a little bit more whimsy as far as saying, yes, you're at Epcot. So that's my take on it.
What I don't like about the purple wall is when I'm walking through there going to Tomorrowland, there's always somebody standing there with their Frappuccino Macchiato
That's
trying
true.
to get their picture, and I'm waiting for them to take their bloody picture. And they're
Holding
jumping
their-
up in the air. And
Yep, gotta
hang on, I got to do
jump.
it again. It's like, okay, can I just get
Burst
through
me.
here?
Burst me. Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. They do take a lot of pictures there, and there's usually a line of girls dressed up with their little frap in hand or Starbucks drink, and it's so funny, but they line
Yeah,
up
and
to
they-
take those
yeah,
pictures.
it's
I'm one
just-
of them.
It's just too much.
Okay, I get in that line. It's not too much, Dan. It's perfect.
Okay. Where did we leave off on the chat here? We're running out of time here. We got 2 minutes left.
We
2
are
minutes.
just about out of time. If we're
Yeah, we are out
going to
of
wrap
time.
this up before Panda's show, we better wrap
Yep.
it up. Well, now.
Kim says, I don't care about
Either one, right?
I don't care
Yeah.
for either. You can't look at the first one and not think Epcot immediately. Exactly.
That is true. I mean, that
The first
that
wall.
one says Epcot and, just plain color. I mean, who knows? It could
And
be
Jeff,
anywhere.
Jeff chooses the purple one.
Purple one.
Okay. Alrighty, we're gonna hand it off to Panda.
Thanks,
What's coming
guys.
up on Grand Circle Tour? The podcast.
I don't
for
know.
the
Who's
show
on
next
the
week?
show this week?
Let me
I
find
was.
out. Yeah, we just did the show together.
Mindy,
just-
you were hosting.
Yep, I hosted. So next week is, hold on one sec. So it's,
This week.
I know,
Oh,
right?
This week. What's the show about?
Oh, this week. Well,
What did you do?
okay. You're talking, this upcoming show is for transportation around Disney. And what we talked about is like talking about the boats and the monorails and your favorite like transportation and the least favorite transportation. And it's going to be so great. So tune in when it gets posted. Episode 161. It's a great tribute to all the transportation around Walt Disney World.
Sounds
Yes.
great. Looking forward to it.
And
Yeah.
the solo show, I have Timmy E.D. on.
Timmy.
Timmy D. Timmy E.D.
Okay.
Timmy period D period or something like that.
Timmy. Got it.
And we just kind of talk about the changes happening at Disney. So right now it's starting. Everybody run. Pandatrivia.com. And we'll
Let's go
see you there.
Jump on there. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Tune into Panda.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to play the music, though.
Okay.